Hey YouTube, we went to Watermellon Park to go tubing down the river, and we wanted to share with you our experience. So Watermellon Park is outside the Washington DC area, pretty close to Winchester, if you know like the Washington DC area. So anyway, they have a campground and they also have a water tubing park, which is where we are going. They have these school buses that you see that are used to transport the I guess the tourists or the people that are going to be riding in the tubes. So there's a little building back here behind all these tubes where you sign like a waiver and you hand them some money. For us it was $10 because we are in the campground. I think it's a little bit more than that if you're not in the campground, and then they also have a fee if you want a cooler to take with you. And you can't bring alcohol, unfortunately, but they do have these like little blue little floats that you put a cooler on. You supply your own cooler, but they supply the float. And then they have two size floats. They have adult floats, which are what those orange ones are, and then they have some red ones that you'll see, the ones in back there, those are the kids floats. So everybody loads themselves onto a school bus, and when we were going, it was fairly empty because it was like early in the day and we were a camper. So over here there is a flag. You can kind of see it on the far left side. That's where you exit the river. And then this is the river, and what they're explaining is like right here is a deep area. This is the deepest area of the entire river, where maybe it is like say 8 or 9 feet deep. And then outside of that, that spot, the rest of the river is about waist deep if you're like an adult. And they explain to you that all this is private property on the side of the road. Do not, go up onto the private property on both sides. So basically, they take you up so many miles, they drop you off with your tube. And then you get to go in the river, and then you go down to basically the campground, and then you get out. And they said that it all depends on the speed of the river to how long it takes, and whether or not you like put your feet on the ground and slow down. They said that normally it's like an hour and a half or so of tubing if you just like let the river just take you straight down. But they were saying that for a lot of people it was about 2 hours because they would stop and put their feet on the base of the river. So there's a boat launcher. This is a public boat launch. And the convenient thing here is that they're shuttling you up here and they're supplying you the tubes, and they disinfect the tubes and all that kind of stuff if you're worried about that. I guess the most dangerous spot with the COVID-19 going on is sitting on the bus. And some people wear masks, some people don't. That's like your own kind of thing to figure out. So you can see there, the one float at the bottom with a back is a kid's float, and then all the rest of the orange ones over there are adult floats. But they have a whole mess of kids floats in the back of the boat, so don't worry about like how many floats they have, because they have more than enough floats. So you go down the steps, and I'm trying to include all this footage so you can just kind of get a real good view of everything. So this is a public boat launch that we're at right now. So technically you could come up here and launch your own like canoe or tube or whatever you wanted, but the problem is there's nowhere to get out unless you go like way past the campground to another bridge or something, unless you want to like quote unquote trespass. And they said there were some rapids like right past the campground, and that was why they specifically wanted everybody to get out at the campground. Now I'm sort of believing, and I don't know if this is true or not, if you are a camper you get like a special band to show that you're a camper that goes around your wrist. And I'm kind of thinking that if you came up, magically found a way to get up here and park your vehicle or whatever, and you had a second vehicle that could get you back up here to your vehicle or whatever, you could bring your own tube and go down and then get out at the campground. But anyway, if you only have one vehicle like us, then that's a lot more difficult to do. So it's kind of nice. So the other really nice thing about this location is because you're walking down a boat ramp, it's this nice concrete flat surface that's super easy to get in the river. So you could tell the difference between the veterans that would do this and the people that hadn't done it before. The people that had not done this before would just immediately get in the river and let it take them basically straight back to the campground like pretty quickly. And the veterans, it seemed like, were the people that would almost immediately like stop up here in close proximity to the boat launch and kind of make a whole day out of it. I know that they say that they would like you to try to just be out there for 2 hours, but at the same time, I don't think they're timing anybody, or I don't think they have any way of knowing how long you're going to be out there. So there's a blue cooler that I was telling you about, where they give you you can pay a little bit extra for that, and it's totally normal to try to bring a rope with you. So my suggestion would be for you to bring some kind of rope so you can latch the tubes together, and like that's what we did. We latched ours together to make it easier. And the other thing was I was wearing flip-flops, so I wanted to be able to tie my flip-flops to the rope that we used to tie the two tubes together. So then it wasn't I didn't have to hold on to my flip-flops. Some people had the water shoes or the sandals. So I'll speed all this up so you don't have to actually watch us tube for a couple hours. So the edge of the river was a little more rocky, and the center where you could see the stronger currents was a lot more smooth. I didn't feel like anything was cutting my feet, but probably would be a good idea to wear something to protect your feet. And we were spending a lot of time putting our feet down or moving to the slower current, because you could see there was a lot of people that were passing us. So now we're going to get out, and I'm going to show you what it looks like a little bit more busy, and the whole process of getting out. So anyways, there's that flag that I was talking about, and there are the individuals that are over there to assist with getting out. So they do have a pair of stairs here to help get out of the river, but you'll see that it's just railroad ties. It's better than nothing. It's not great, but whatever. And you'll see that there's a stack of tubes here. This is not what you're supposed to do. And they came out up and actually was like, hey, please take the tubes back. They expect that you carry your tube actually back to to where you got it at. But believe it or not, it's not very far, so it's not that big of a deal. And they have a crossing guard there. And you can see they have all these cars parked everywhere. And now, all of a sudden, there's people kind of everywhere. So behind the white barrier in front of us is a disinfecting station, and you just drop your tube off there, and then they have a squirter bottle there, and you can see the line of people to do the tubing. And that building on the left is the registration area I was talking about, and you can see the different types of tubes here. The blue ones are the coolers, the orange ones are the adult ones, and the red ones are the kids ones. But you can see we're here just on a regular Sunday. This isn't any special holiday. And you can see that it's starting to get pretty ridiculous with people. So just kind of plan that out. And for us, what I noticed was the morning it wasn't so bad, and then the afternoon kind of got kind of crazy. So our house is probably 45 minutes from this place, but there are probably many people where they are say an hour and a half or maybe even 2 hours from this place. You can see everybody packed up, and so obviously if you're gonna have a kid and you're gonna go the 2 hours to go tubing, that usually equates to say leaving at 9 in the morning and then getting here around say 11 or lunchtime. So it kind of makes sense that the afternoon would be kind of when it's more crazy, and you can see how long the line is. People are trying to space themselves out, but those buses are they are completely packed. And we were fortunate enough when we got on the bus that it felt like only maybe 6 or 7 other people on the bus, and we just walked up and got on the very first bus. And you can see there's a line of people waiting. I mean, the buses run constantly. It's not like they delay the buses or anything like that. And they have a handful of buses, and they also have a truck that has a trailer where they take all the tubes up. There are some tubes in the back of the bus, but they do have a dedicated truck to just bring lots and lots of tubes up there. This is the campground in front of us. We have a review of the campground. We're going to walk back in the direction of the campground. There's a logo for Watermellon Park. And all these other cars that are parked here, this is parking for the tubing. So you can see, there are just an incredible number of people and cars and stuff here. So yeah, just kind of think about trying to get here early or something. Or if you're going to go camping, just go over there early in the morning, at 10 o'clock in the morning or something. Don't go over there in the afternoon. So this is our trailer right here. There is a video of us touring and showing off this campground with our trailer. Very convenient that we can just walk back and make lunch or whatever we want to do with the camper and the Jeep and everything. So anyway, please like and subscribe, and hopefully this helped you out with planning your trip to Watermellon Park.